Hey guys, Moneyman300 and got another tuning video here. This time it's the B-Class Subaru WRX 05, and this is the car, if you watch the video on using the Rivals replay to build a great car and using the leaderboard to take a look at it. And this is the car that I did in that one, and I wanted to finish it out and actually do a tuning video on it because it turned out so good. It's just a beast of a car on Prague Short, which is the track I was looking to build a car for, and this time I'm just kind of talking about it as I show the replay of me running a lap here, and that was from the start there, and then getting my warm-up lap in here, and then on this next lap I think I get to about 60th, 65th, somewhere right there on the leaderboard. So instead of trying to go out and beat that time some more, which I think I can, there's still a lot more in the car. I thought I'd just show about it and kind of talk about the car a little bit and just show the lap. But this is it coming up here. This is another car that when you drive it, you want to maintain lower RPMs in that 4 to 6 range. And you can run pretty much this whole track, and I'm in 6th gear there, just downshifted to 5th, and I'll hit 4th gear once right here and then go right back up to 5th and then run 5th and 6th the whole rest of the track. So I'll get there, I'm in 5th, we'll get back up into 6th gear right here and just even holding these low RPMs in 6th gear all the way through this. And I will run 6th gear pretty much all through this section of the track here, right up until the last turn, downshift one more time to 5th, back up to 6th to finish. So you can pretty much run this whole track at 5th and 6th gear with this car and do really well. Don't brake in through this section, maybe a little brake right there just to set yourself up for this turn, no downshifting. But yeah, this is a phenomenal car, turned out great. So as soon as this part is over right here, as we come up along the finish line, I think the time was in the 102.3 range, which is really good for this track. And there it was right there. So I think I quit up here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So that was that. Let's pop out of here and go take a look at our tune. Oh, you can see it right there. Actually, 66th, 102.374. So let's pop in out of here. Let's go check out our parts real quick. You saw the parts if you watch the other video, you saw the parts already, but I'll go through them real quick and then we will run through the tune on that. So let's back out of here, get over into our upgrade, and the first thing that we want to do is we have an engine swap on this one. No drivetrain swap. I left it at all-wheel drive. Could have elected to go to the rear-wheel drive and maybe done something with that, but I like that it's all-wheel drive. That works really well in the multiplayer lobbies. Get that good acceleration in there. And then I did do the change from the stock to the street powertrain swap. And there was actually another one that I could have got, but I was really looking for this power band in here. And the Subarus, the Mitsubishis, they all have this engine that you can go to, and you can see, and I talked about it in if you watch the Evo 6.1, same thing, from 4.5 to 5.5 is where you want to keep it. So this thing redlines like way up in about 7 grand, but you never want to run it that high. You want to shift about the time you get to 6 grand, so you keep it in that 4.5 to 5.5 range. That's where you're going to have your peak horsepower and peak performance. You're going to shave seconds literally off of your lap times by trying to keep it in the lower RPMs. It's going to feel or sound weird. This can be really low RPMs, but you're actually getting really good power out of that. So we do that engine swap there. There are no other engine parts on this. The only other thing you can do with this one is to remove restrictor plates, but obviously not able to do that and keep it within Class B. We're gonna have we're gonna have race brakes, race springs, race ARBs, both front and back roll bars. I believe full roll cage, yep, and full weight reduction as well. So race everything in the platform and handling. Inside the drivetrain, we're going to have stock clutch, which is normal. We're also going to have a stock transmission, and just to show you why we have a stock transmission, this is a 13 PI difference to go up to the next one, and it just isn't worth it. It's going to make it probably a little difficult on some other tracks. Like, you won't be able to run this on longer tracks with real long straightaways, because you're going to run out of gears pretty quickly. and they're not adjustable, so it does limit you a little bit, but it makes it a great car on a Prague short. Probably going to work really well on road Atlanta, potentially the shorter of the Alps tracks, and maybe the shorter also, what is that, the top gear, shorter top gear. So there's some tracks it's going to be really good on, but you're not going to want to run it on anything with a longer straightaway because you're not going to be able to gear it properly. We're going to have, I believe, just stock driveline. Yep. And we've got the race differential in there. And let's move over to our tires and rims. And we have the full race compound here. This only has two options outside of that, but we are going full race. Get us that grip that we need around those turns and through those, especially those kind of sweeping turns that you see in the Prague track. We have stock front tire width, and I believe full tire width in the rear. The wheels we are running, I believe, are in the sport area, and they are the Buddy Club P1 Racing QF. As always, if you find something else you like, keep it in that 600 PI, but I think those are about the lightest ones that I could get and still stay at 600, if I remember correctly. And we have the full 20-inch wheels front and back, so full wheel sizes there. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to have front and rear aero, pretty normal there. So that's all of our parts that we got to on this, and let's go take a look at the tune real quick. So one thing I did with this, and I mentioned it in the Evo 6, said you could take that Evo 6 in this car and you could take it out of the box. I just bumped that. And you could do nothing but tune this differential. And actually, all these settings are the same. The only setting in the differential I changed here was this balance, and bumped it up to 80%. I think it started at 65 maybe, or something like that. Moved that up to 80%, and then I went and drove it. That was literally the only change I made, and 3 laps in, I was like 260th on the leaderboard. So the car was really good out of the box, but I did have to fine tune it quite a bit to shave an extra couple of seconds off of that, which is the difference between the 260th and now in 66th place. And there's more here, not any more that I have to tune, but even that lap I ran, I could shave it easily another half a second off of there and put that inside the top 50 without too much more effort. So again, quite a bit of we'll start with the alignment. Gearing, I showed the tires here, standard 29.8, 28.5. That's kind of just where I set the tires at on all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars. I generally don't change that. And then the no gearing, obviously, as I mentioned, can't do any gearing there. And then we go once again, a lot of negative camber, 2.2 and 1.8. I really like those setups. It really helps turn and get the car turning in. I did use 1 degree of toe out on both the front and the rear, and that's again to help with that turn in. After you come over the bridge on Prague and you have that going through the kind of city area there, you really need to be able to turn in to those turns, and that's where this toe really helps. And then when you're running a lot of negative camber like this, you want to make sure you got your caster angle up high enough to keep it balanced. So 6.0, sometimes you could do 5.5 there. 6.0 seemed to work well. The rear, again, this is very similar to the Evo setup, but the rear, I believe that's default. I didn't touch it. The front started at about 29, so I made the front roll bars quite a bit softer, and again, that's because it just understeered, and I couldn't quite hold a couple of those turns at the speeds that I wanted to. It was just the front end was pushing, so it just kept softening up both the roll bars and the springs here. The rear springs, I believe, are default or close to it, and the front springs started at about a little over 800, so I took about 100 pounds out of the front springs. That was just to keep those tires planted on the ground. I took a little bit out of the ride height, but not completely. There is that area when you're coming again through the city where you drive over the curbs there, and I was bottoming out when I took it out all the way and was throwing the car sideways, so I had to add a couple of inches back in to that ride height. The dampening, 9.3, 9.6. I don't think any of these are default. They're probably both a little bit higher than the default. And again, you're going to have the rear a little bit stiffer than the front, and same with the bump. And high, like I always like the high rebound or stiff rebound, and softer on the bump. Aero, default out of the box. didn't really feel like I needed to change that at all. It worked real well like that. It had to be really fine tuning to get that extra tenths of seconds out where you might start to play with this, but I didn't feel any need to do that. This is my standard brake pressure or brake balance at 53. I didn't notice any issues braking. Not a ton of braking going on that track, so I might have to take this out on another track and play around with the brake balance a little bit on a track that actually requires the brakes to be used a little bit more than that one does, and then the brake pressure at 110%. And I talked about the differential settings. So that is everything on there. One thing I don't want to apply it. I didn't mean to change anything. One thing I didn't show was our numbers here. Forgot about that. I guess I can show it right there. So let's go in and take one quick look at that, and it is 6.2 on speed, 5.7 on handling, 7.8 acceleration, 9.6 launch, and 6.1 on braking. We get 373 horsepower, 442 foot-pounds of torque, 2,917 pounds, 55% to the front on the weight distribution, and 1.6 liters of displacement. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to set some leaderboard times, this is going to be a great car for it. I haven't run it in multiplayer lobby yet, so I don't know, but it should be good because it's all-wheel drive. Off the line, you're going to beat just about everybody off the line. Hopefully get out in front early. So, yep, go give it a shot, and we'll wrap it up for this one, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Later.